In the 8th century BCE, Israel was experiencing an undeniable economic boom. The nation was flush with new wealth, trade routes were expanding, and the temples were packed to the brim with worshippers. But that prosperity was built on a deeply rotten foundation. The rich were getting richer by systematically exploiting the poor, and all those religious festivals were simply masking a profound moral bankruptcy. Into this fragile bubble steps Amos. He was a laborer who tended trees and herded sheep in the quiet hills of Tekoa, surrounded by an unforgiving, dry landscape. God called this outsider to march straight into the prosperous capital. His objective was to deliver a strict countdown of 5 terrifying visions of judgment, meant to wake up a completely complacent nation. An economy can look flawless on paper, but if a society loses its moral center, that success is entirely an illusion. Urgent. Vision 1 reveals a massive swarm of locusts descending just as the late spring crops sprout, threatening absolute economic collapse. Amos reacts with desperation. He pleads with God for the nation's survival, and God actually listens. The total devastation is canceled. The warnings escalate. Vision 2 unveils a cosmic fire so intense it boils the rivers and completely devours the dry land. We see a pattern forming. The shepherd intercedes for a second time, and once again, the horrific fire is stopped by divine mercy. These repeated pardons ended up creating a dangerous mindset. The people began to believe that their actions carried no real consequences, assuming any impending disaster could always be prayed away. Then comes the third vision, and the tone abruptly shifts. The chaotic natural disasters cease entirely. There is only silence, and a single simple tool. It is a plumb line. Unlike a swarm of locusts or a raging fire, a plumb line causes no harm. It simply hangs in the air, objectively measuring straightness. Israel is being tested against God's objective standard of justice to check its structural integrity. The result shows a nation that is dangerously bowed and cracking under the weight of its own corruption. Recognizing this severe structural failure, the narrative takes a chilling turn. Amos completely stops asking for mercy. When a society's core rots away, warnings serve no further purpose. A crooked wall cannot be straightened. It has to come down. The fourth vision relies on a grim Hebrew pun. Amos sees a basket of summer fruit, which is kayitz in Hebrew, signifying a word that sounds nearly identical, ketz, meaning the end. The metaphor is sharp. The nation, much like a basket of freshly picked fruit, looks beautiful and prosperous on the outside, but just beneath the skin, it is rapidly rotting from internal corruption. The fifth vision is absolute ruin. God stands beside the altar, bringing the massive temple crashing down directly on the worshippers. This judgment is inescapable. Trying to flee into the highest mountain caves or diving to the very bottom of the sea will offer them no protection. The corrupt religious sanctuaries they blindly trusted for protection have tragically become the exact sites of their ruin. We are left surveying a silent aftermath. The wealth and pride of an entire society have been reduced to scattered dust and rubble. These ruins represent a necessary end. This level of destruction cleared the ground of its corrupt roots, creating the only conditions under which something healthy could grow. A promise of restoration follows the wreckage. This total removal of the crooked foundation makes a new start possible, specifically to rebuild the fallen tent of David, Amos's term for a restored nation defined by its integrity. We see new life emerging directly from the wreckage, proving that the destruction itself was required for this new growth. Amos shows that true justice often acts as a demolition crew. It levels what is rotten to ensure the next structure is built to last.